Okay, guys, very exciting. Our first real demo in front of everybody. Just a few comments, suggestions, giving off from what Mike said before. If you guys, what we're going to do, the flow is going to be that Mia and Vinny are going to present their interview screen by screen. And we've decided that feedback at the end of each screen is going to be good. Try and be nice. I don't think I have to say that again, but just know that you're going to be in the same position. And if you guys are mean to Mia and Vinny, they might be mean to you. So also just keep in mind that if you see something on their interview that you want or you like, or it's also a chance for you to flag that as something that you can ask them for help with. And this will be the same thing going forward. So we're going to try and make this as
saying what works is as useful as saying what doesn't work.
Right. So if you
identify both those things.
So positives, negatives, you say, I really like the way you did that, or, I think that maybe this might be confusing for the user. We really are trying to get as much feedback from everybody as possible. That's why we're keeping you guys on the call for this. So really looking forward to it. Okay, I'm going to hand over to Mia and Vinny.
Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen. Can everybody see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. So this is just what do you want me to do? Do you want me to stop at all the basic question screens as well, or how are we?
No, I think this main screen is fine, unless you've made any changes to the basic questions, in which case in those ones, yes, please stop. But otherwise, the ones where we all have them, no, I don't think so.
Okay, so yeah, this is just the first screen. This is the second screen.
I think there might be you can use this form to file many kinds of motions while your case in the probate and family court is happening. While your case.
Is Kate on this call?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, this was what you had sent.
I mean, I don't maybe it's not plain, but I just don't want people thinking they need to have already have a complaint. They can't just file this out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think you should bump that to the top would be my thought. And so that last sentence
comes first.
Should be the first sentence.
Okay.
Just another thing that
maybe make it its own paragraph.
You can, if you want people to read stuff, you interactively ask the question, do you have a case in probate and family court right now? Yes or no?
I like that. Have a kick out, and if they answer no, then this form's not for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So the other feedback that Mike gave us was that we want to kind of come to a decision, if possible, we want to come to a decision on each screen so that you're not left at the end of the interview going, wait, what was I supposed to do here? So I think what we're saying here is, as Caroline suggested, make it more interactive, make them have to read it so that they can, they're forced to read it in order to interact with it. So phrase those as maybe questions. Is that a correct understanding, guys? So do you have a case in the probate and family court? And then it'll be a yes, no. And if it's no, it'll kick you out, similar to the 209A. I think there's a kick out screen on that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe with more resources and such.
I think the principle behind this is that you ask people all the questions up front that means that the interview isn't relevant for them. So they don't end up going through a whole bunch of questions and then getting to the end. The other thing that after testing on my iPhone again, is that I feel pretty strongly that when we do yes, no questions, unless we're doing a show if, that we use the yes, no buttons that look like next rather than radio buttons. I think particularly on a phone, it's much easier to do those yes, no buttons.
So Mia, I actually have that logic that Quentin showed me. I think you were on that call as well. So, but I can take you through that again, how to set that up. And then just another thing that I noticed is the page ID is null. I think that it's important that we just keep those page IDs consistent. So, so what we do is we have, we can say yes, no, as the next button, and if I can't figure that out with you, then we'll put that on the coding channel. Is that okay with you and Vinny?
Yes, I'm taking notes right now on
Okay.
everybody's.
Sorry, I can't see you. So
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay. So everyone okay with that? Any other suggestions, comments, thoughts? Kate's got her cat there. This is the cat that we never see.
Yeah, she's become braver and braver as we're home all day.
She's not
Every
afraid
day.
of the computer anymore.
Okay, so that wasn't so bad. Next one. Okay, this is a standard one, right? You haven't changed that.
I do not believe so. The only thing I have changed, I think, is making the middle name not required.
It's not required on the regular
Basic
one.
questions.
I believe you changed the top, which says, "Who are you?" So I believe this is one of your questions.
Yeah, no, it is, but I had to change the middle name to not be required.
So but
I
when you
think
got to that
basic
stage,
questions doesn't require them either.
but maybe when Mia was doing it, it was
Yeah, that's
required.
true.
So me and Vinny had to change it. Okay.
Did you say you are going to take out this business or organization?
I
thing?
wanted to keep it just in case somebody was using this for like a trust or estates case.
Okay.
Because theoretically, a trust could be the defendant.
I mean,
Yeah.
is it clear then from the business or organization that it could be a trust? But I guess if you're not a person, then you
Well,
must be
hopefully
that.
if you like are involved with a trust, or if it's like a guardianship, because sometimes those can be like hospitals, right?
Hopefully you'll know if
Well,
you
why
are
would
one.
you be? A
hopefully
business
know.
wouldn't be using this, actually.
Well,
I was
that's what
thinking
I'm
the
thinking.
defendant
That's what I'm
would be the
thinking.
business.
Who your user is? They'd have a lawyer, right? Anybody who is an entity would probably have a lawyer.
No, you're right. I was thinking the business could be the defendant, not the Yeah.
Could always just go with business,
person.
organization, or entity.
Or not do it.
I think for
Not-
this question, switch it
Sounds
to
like
this
we could do that.
person.
Yeah, or not do it. That
Sorry
also.
if I misled on this.
No. So,
Because we did have it just as
This is a person, yeah.
Yeah, go back to that. Sorry.
Just do the
sometimes,
basic question.
you do. It's like you think about every single possibility, and then you think, okay, what are we actually using this for?
Right,
And
because
I
the
think
trust
that's-
as a matter of law has to have an attorney, so.
Right. There you go.
So, Kate, would you even for a trust, you just want it to be as a person, or do you want to?
A trust
Make it-
a trust wouldn't be using
Okay.
this because they would have an attorney.
So I think the argument is that the defendant might be business, organization, or entity.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the other side could be.
The other,
But
yeah, so the user
spelled
wouldn't
out
be.
defendants too, though.
What?
But the user can be a defendant here.
The user should always be a person, because if it's a business entity or et cetera, they would have an attorney, and I just don't see this being used by attorneys.
Yeah.
Again, this is open for everybody to comment on.
Okay.
So just a reminder. Okay.
But that is the look that it should have, or should it only? It should
I
only
just think,
be just the name. It should only be.
Only names.
yeah, only names.
Kind of like the TRO. I think the TRO has the user being only a natural person.
So the language, who are you? It should just say, what is your name?
Yeah.
So yeah.
We'll just change it back to how it was.
just use the basic question at this point, I think.
Well, the basic question asks if you're a business.
Yeah.
I think that there is a basic question that just asks for the user's name.
There is, yeah. So what variable is this that it's filling in? If it's not filling in user 0, then there might not be a basic question that matches. But if it is, the default one should work.
It's pulling in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Okay. So yeah, you could probably just get rid of your question and it will go back to the default one.
Okay. So should I go to the next screen, or?
So we're agreed with what's going to happen here. It's going to change to what is your name, and it's going to be a person, and that's going to be pulled in from the basic questions, right? If you just take out that user's 0 string.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct in my understanding there?
Yeah.
Okay. Next screen. Oh, you need to fill in. No. Put it as a person so that we can see a proper PDF, and you can make up fun names.
Oh, this is really fun.
The most fun name we know.
Okay.
So this one should be a business, though, right?
I think allow it.
And then I think what David's suggestion was quite nice, was business, organization, or
entity.
Because I just feel like I know like the powers of like, okay, deduction, they're gonna say, okay, it's not a person, it must be the other option. But does it hurt to add in that extra word? I'm not too sure.
I think on these questions, we don't have to use please. I think it'd be a question. We can say, who is on the other side of your case? And you don't have to say below because it's there. So
Below.
I think
Is this from a basic question?
I
You click
It might
source and
be.
see. But that sounds like a good change to the basic question.
Yeah, so
I
if
don't
it is a
think that would
basic
hurt.
question.
Both of those seem like good ones for every. If we scroll up a little bit more, oh yeah, you can see where it came from.
Yeah.
Actually, a little higher.
Oh, sorry.
At the top of the source code, it says from.
Yeah,
I've
seen it's been sporadic for me when I see it and when I don't see it.
Okay, I wonder how we can make sure that always happens. Maybe it doesn't work for generic object questions.
But it does say from the basic questions YAML there. So is it not?
Well, that's the court emails.
Yeah, it's
which
about
always
loading the
shows
court
up.
emails from file.
Oh,
yeah, I'm not sure why that always shows up either. It's not very helpful debug information. But yeah, so Jonathan recently changed it so it's supposed to show the name of the file it pulls from. But it looks like, I think I've noticed the same thing Michelle just said, it doesn't always work.
So if it is, so maybe, Mia, could you just check it maybe later, not right now. Mia and Vinny, could you please check if you guys edited this question from the basic questions? If not, could you guys please just ping on the code channel, and then maybe we can just change on the basic questions so that there's, what's it called? Consistency.
An update?
Yeah. And then just a question, this might be a stupid question. If we do an update to basic questions, does that automatically update everybody else's code that pulls basic questions, or do?
Yeah, it does.
Yep.
That's the advantage. Yeah.
And then so that it'll only matter if somebody's taken the other side question and put it into their code to change it, then they have to update.
Exactly.
Okay. Everybody, are you listening? I can't see anybody. Okay.
Good to go next screen.
Yes.
This is awesome, guys.
Okay. So here it's
again, sorry, page ID there again. Sorry. Okay, carry on. Sorry.
So here it's, if you answer no and no, nothing appears, and you're going to be asked for your address and your phone number in the next questions. And then it's like it'll be here. And then if you say yes to one of them, there will be this show if, and you will still be prompted for your phone number, I believe. Yes, your contact information. And then the same thing if you switch that, that occurs. And then if you say yes, 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 you will still be asked for your contact information because it has to show up on the cover sheet, but it won't show up on the form.
And is that clear if you, and is that only if you press yes, 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 or does it work if you go no, no, yes?
No, yes, and then so that's the same thing.
Okay,
It will do the same thing.
So fancy.
Makes me realize on the cover sheet, do we flag? We should probably flag that any information is impounded.
Say that again, David, please.
The cover sheet we give to the court for the clerk, we should flag that the information, that if any of the information on the cover sheet is impounded, that should be flagged.
Yeah.
It wasn't an issue we had to think about with the 209A because we weren't sending over something with the cover sheet.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the big thing's the address, which doesn't go on the cover sheet.
Yeah, can you impound the phone number?
You can, yeah. It's like, I feel like the way it realistically happens is like if an attorney did the motion for an impoundment, it would be clear. Like I always write it as impound the address and phone number. If a pro se person did their own impoundment, they like probably didn't really make it clear that they also wanted the phone number, and it's probably a little fuzzy. So I'm almost a little hesitant to highlight it because it's like fuzzy. Like if your address is impounded, like realistically, like if the other side doesn't know the phone number, the court's like not going to make you, but it's still a little fuzzy.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of a situation where the clerk gets it in, they print this out, they put it on top of the file, and
Not treated with the same.
yeah.
Yeah,
Kate, are you saying it's fuzzy? Are you saying that you don't want to draw attention to the court? That you don't want to draw the court's attention to the fact that if you don't say impound my phone number, that if other people don't impound their phone numbers, then they won't be impounded? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just worried the court will be like, wait, no, the phone number isn't impounded.
Oh, they will.
They
If
didn't specifically.
an attorney says it is.
If an attorney writes the motion, they're saying like the attorney is putting into the motion to impound the phone number. I think when pro se people do it, they're just kind of,
What I'm saying though is, why would you not have a pro se person ask to have their phone number impounded unless it implied to the court that people who don't ask for them phone numbers, unless it starts.
This isn't where people are asking.
They already have, yeah.
I'm assuming people. I think there's a high likelihood the pro se person already did it incorrectly. And
initially, I see what you're saying. I gotcha. Okay, not gotcha. Okay, right. I understand what you're saying now. Yeah.
So is this something we could put on like the information for the clerk? We could have like.
Well, that was the original.
Could we
discussion.
instead say that they're requesting impoundment?
No, they're not requesting impoundment here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All they've done here is it's a case that already has existed. We're asking if they have already had something impounded.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I get that.
And if they already have had something impounded, at some point we have to trust the clerk to do
it right.
the job appropriately. So if someone mailed in a form and they had a cover letter on it with their address, the clerk would still have to deal with that.
Yeah, I think if somebody needs their phone number secret and they said yes to one of these questions, I think maybe it should say on the cover sheet, say like, please note, please keep the phone number impounded.
Yeah.
And you can also say
or I think a more technically to the point, to not confuse the issue, is to just say if someone says that something is impounded, we could just put an alert that says alert a portion of this a portion of this
information has been impounded.
A portion of this file has been in, please note a portion of this, and then it doesn't tell what it is, it flags it, so they have to actually look at the rest of the file.
Yeah,
that's actually a good idea, making them do something on their.
So it's just a notifier. So if someone answers yes to saying something's impounded, then we just put a flag somewhere on that cover page that says, note, a portion of this file has some part of this.
For you, Mia.
Some part of this case has been impounded. We'll have to figure out the exact language, but you can put some placeholder something there now.
Can I also suggest that the second question says, has the court granted a motion to impound your address?
Yes.
Should we use the same language in the second one? Has the court granted a motion to impound your phone number?
No.
Okay.
Because that comes back to, I think there's a good chance the pro se person didn't quite do it correctly.
Okay.
And
they don't know
I kind of just want to gloss over that.
Okay.
So does that make sense? Because technically the court probably didn't grant a motion to impound the phone number, but realistically, if they impounded the address, they're not going to force the person to give the phone number to the other side.
They just didn't know specifically that they had to ask for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking now is that this was a lot for Vinny and Mia to think about. So are we going to edit the cover sheet template?
Yes.
And then
what they should do is they should create a variable that gets triggered.
I think they already
on the
have that. Yeah.
And then that'll fill with you can fill it with some placeholder text now, and then we will figure out what that placeholder text will be. And then we should edit the standard cover sheet to have a place to put in impounded, like alert
additional
flag.
Notes, maybe.
I wonder if maybe it should just add to Quentin. What do you actually?
Yeah. So
my thinking is just add it to the.
We've talked about this over the
note.
time. So we have an issue for this actually already. That's like how to handle impounded address on the cover.
And I will say the physical file, if there's an impounded address, almost should and almost always does have a big notation on it. So as soon as they pull that file, there's a notation on it. Not saying the court is perfect in how they handle these, but There's
Yeah.
multiple ways they get to this.
But I think it
So
doesn't
the
hurt.
impoundment kind of covers the whole file in a way, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So they should
And they
be
like
aware.
segregate. There's like a separate part that they segregate out of the file and like put it somewhere that doesn't get handed out to the public. Theoretically, they've messed it up.
I think we could probably get away with not doing anything, but I like better safe than sorry.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
we
It
could
doesn't cover all our bases.
We could just put a paragraph into the comment that goes on the cover note. That's just a flag that says, user has indicated that some portion of the file is impounded.
How about we make, all right.
Because we already have the note field.
I
so
think
we
the
could just add
discussion
text.
for now, I think the discussion for now might be, we might conclude this at a later time. And
yeah, I think we have it set. We should trigger a variable. You can have placeholder text now. We know roughly what that placeholder text looked like. And then that string of that text should be added to the front of any of the comment string.
yeah, we'll discuss the variable name with you later so that it'll be a standard variable name.
Is that okay, guys?
Yeah, it can be like alerts or something for anything that we want to hijack the comment section for.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Next screen.
That was so chipper.
And hi, Kai, or I'm sorry, I never got how to pronounce your name.
Hey, I'm here.
Hi,
Yeah,
we're actually just doing a demo that's of an almost complete form. Or
I thought it was done.
So I see parentheses. We have to get rid of those, right, Caroline?
Yeah,
I wrote that. My bad.
I have a little list of edits that people might want to take notice of, and we haven't done our style guide. So, for example, the heading would be good to just have the first word uppercase in your heading. You wouldn't know that, but that's we sort of decided that at the beginning and didn't tell everybody. So the only reason you should have anything uppercase in the heading is if it's a proper noun, like the motion in the screen before. I'm thinking a little bit whether we can shorten the court granted a motion. In other words, is the court impounded your address? Is it keeping your address safe? Something like that.
Yeah.
And again, we could talk about that 2 sentences. The thing is, you want to keep it short and also make it clear. Do we still need to, or impound? You could do your little green, the little green help on impound. Because if people have had it impounded, they've had to file a motion to impound. So by this point, they probably know whether it's impounded.
They should have heard the word.
If they've forgotten, they can click on impound and see what impound means. And then you've got this, you've got passive again in the third question. So those are little.
So how would you change? How would the third question be changed?
I'm going to ask somebody else. How would you change, do you need your phone number to be kept secret? Well, let's try the second one. That's easier. Your phone number will still be used by the court to contact you. This is a good example. How would you make that be active?
The court? Start with the court?
What do you mean? Yeah. Who's doing the using?
The court?
That's right. The court.
Yeah.
So how do we make that sentence active?
Oh. Do you need the court?
Will still use.
What's the sentence? You've got you've got a question and you've got a sentence. So I'm just saying, try the second sentence. How do you make that active?
The court will still use your phone number to contact you.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
And then need is a little confusing because you need, I think that the verb is needing and then keeping secret.
So do you need to keep your secret? Keep your phone number secret.
Yeah, that one's a little bit tricky because it's compound, isn't it? It's you're doing the needing and then you need your phone number to be kept secret. I don't see a way around that. Or do you need the court to keep your phone number away from?
What about should your phone number be kept secret?
Well, that's passive.
Okay, that's passive.
That's passive.
And yeah, so I mean, I'm not sure you need to. Well, maybe you do. Yeah. I mean, maybe. I think actually, what you could do is, do you need the court to keep your phone number, secret from custody LLC? You could do a note under that question
That's what I'm
that
thinking.
says the court will still needs your phone number so they can contact you, and that would be your note, whether it's yes or no. Or actually, you could do the note and you could show if you need it to be kept. Okay, so are you following me? Maybe I'm saying.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that responsiveness.
So if yes is checked, then the note, the court will still use your phone number to contact you, will appear.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Again, guys, if you are just taking notes right now, of course this is recorded. If you are stuck with any of the kind of logic, or you can't, if this is a bit confusing, then you can always rewatch the video and then also just put stuff on the code channel. So don't get daunted if it's just a lot. Okay, and is everybody else paying attention? Because
no.
This has gotten pretty
Raise your
far
hand
into
if you're not
the
paying
weeds.
attention.
No, I don't know.
In the weeds.
next screen.
Do we want to kind of take notes on the next screens, and then to just see it to completion, right?
Yeah.
And then kind of come back for more for deeper feedback, because I think we'd hoped for something a little bit shorter, and this kind of stuff can kind of really keep going.
I think
I just want to say,
45.
when you get into readability edits, it's going to take longer. So maybe we'll just leave the readability edits out for now, and I can do like a write up on it, and then share it with people if we want to.
Yeah,
do
we could.
Sure.
We could, if we exclude, readability, and think about flow and legal.
So then my next question is, because we have the PDF comes out different based on how you answered these questions and the emergency questions. So should I do this, like, I don't know how I should show the outcome here, or maybe how do you think the best way to show it would be? Like, should I show that it will appear address impounded and then no phone number, or?
Yeah, just show us one path. I mean, and then I think show the emergency one as well. So click yes on the emergency that comes through.
Okay.
So this is now linking to the, this will be populated into the, what's it called? Cover sheet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And this is basic question.
Okay. No comments.
No comments? Okay.
That's great.
Again, that you haven't changed this from basic questions. So I think that this is a basic question that I actually wanted to play around with. Again, it goes to readability. So I'm just going to flag that to go in.
And the page ID.
That's our fault. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Then just address. Oh, let's make it mass.
It's something that occurs to me is it's possible that the other side's address is impounded.
That's what we were asking you about. Yeah, that's the thing that we were trying to figure out with.
Right. So in that case, the court does service.
Well, maybe you should say, do you know custody's address? Yes, no.
Yeah, but it's more than no.
No, because if you know it, it could still be impounded.
Or you could not know it, and it's not impounded.
If the other side's address is impounded and you know it, you can still ask them what their address is, right?
No,
It shouldn't appear on the order, though.
The problem's the other way around. The problem is it is impounded. Or I'm sorry, the problem is it's not impounded, but you don't know it when you ask.
Right, they could just be parts unknown or something.
Yeah.
Or someone just doesn't know it. They don't know they have to go look it up, right? Like, oh, I don't know what it is. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Right, because if it's like this, it's probably on the complaint or somewhere convenient, and we don't want people just to be like, I don't feel like going and looking at the complaint.
Yeah. So the question shouldn't be, is it known? The question should be,
well, look at your court papers. Is the other person's address on the court papers?
Yes.
Yeah. What is the question can be, what is the address on the other court on the court papers, the other party's address on the court papers? And then there can be a checkbox that says, it's
There's
not there, you
right,
know,
yeah.
and then the other
I mean,
stuff would be disabled.
I was not paying attention at the beginning of the demo. I think with all of these, it's helpful. So what? Sorry, I'm doing something else. Another project that I started 4 years ago. So now what I'm saying is, in the beginning, do you ask them, do they have their court papers in front of them, like the complaint and okay, so those kinds of, I think that is the kind of question across the board to ask whenever you're filing a form in response, like an answer or a motion or in response to something else. It's helpful to have the other court papers that give you things like the docket number, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that would be a good thing to have in the, like before you start to make sure you get all your paperwork together.
So we should include that in the basic questions or something like that, like, because that's going to be something wherever you have, motion to vacate, anything like that.
Isn't it great, Mia?
Sorry, guys.
This is the short version.
I have maybe 4 pages of notes now. So thank you guys.
I'm so glad. I really thought I chose you guys because I was like, they're so done. It's gonna be so easy, and it'll show everyone else how easy it is to demo this stuff.
Yeah, and the other thing with the other side's address is, with some courts, unless it's impounded, they're gonna make you put something. Like, even if you're like, I don't know, I know where he lived 2 years ago and I know he's moved. They don't care. They make you put it, and you have to send every piece of paperwork into that, to that address. Even if every one of them is coming back return to sender, they will make you send every one of them to that return to sender.
Well, yeah, I mean, 'cause they usually say last known address, don't they?
Yeah, and like some of the courts are like really, really strict. Even if you served them by publication, they still make you just send it into like, and that's a little varied court to court, but like there are some courts where you need to put something, even if you're like, I do not know it.
Maybe we should work up some questions about this with notes and stuff. I mean, the thing too is that this motion, because it's catch-all, is actually, this interview is more complicated than something that is very specific and straightforward. No.
Yeah, it's complicated in a different way.
Yeah.
But you're really helping us develop the
basic
questions and the process and the types of things we need to standardize. This is actually really great. Sorry, folks.
And it's not anything that I think you should think that we expected for you to know ahead of this. This
is stuff I probably should have thought of earlier. And
Kate's such a dodo brain.
Yeah. So maybe there could be a checkbox here. Or I don't know, like something that's like their address is impounded. And if it's impounded, it's treated the same way, where it just says impounded. Then the court is responsible for service if the other side's address is impounded.
Well, Kate, I was just thinking, if the answer is the address is impounded, should the user just put maybe the last known address for the court?
No, they should. If the other side's address is impounded, they should not put any address anywhere. They shouldn't be putting any address on. No one is supposed to write an address if someone's address is impounded.
So the prompt is really, what is the address?
At the most recent court, if they looked at their court papers, they would know that it's impounded.
That's what I'm saying. So the question should be, is there an address for the other party on the court papers? Or something, you know what I mean? Something like that, so that it prompts them to look at the court papers. I mean, you provide options for if there is an address or if there isn't an address. And if there isn't an address, it triggers, impoundment on the PDF.
Well, if it should say impounded, there should be an order to impound, and it should say impounded if there was an impoundment. If it's just a matter of they don't know, they should be putting the last known. Whatever it is.
So basically, this question needs to get reworked.
Yeah.
I have some ideas. I can write something up.
And there are courts that will not accept that there is no last known address.
So maybe
they have to put something in.
Let's flag this question as one that we haven't come to a conclusion on. We need to kind of apply our minds and come back to it. Specifically in the case of in this one where you're going to be responding to something, or there's already a case, a related case. So can you guys please flag it, and then we can discuss it maybe when we discuss something next week in terms of like going forward with it, if you have any questions about the other things that we discussed.
Yeah, and in part of the challenge is just different practices between the courts. But realistically, if you really screw it up and like Middlesex doesn't like what you did, Middlesex will call the person and be like, you need to change this.
Okay.
So it's like not gonna, short of putting an impounded address, nothing is like really bad.
Okay.
Next
Okay.
question.
Next screen. Guys, how far are we on this progress bar? Okay.
It's a short interview.
This is fine.
We're on slide number 9.
Oh.
Of how many?
100.
Quite a few.
All right.
This is fine. That's basic question.
That's a basic question, right?
No.
No.
Oh, right, because we had to figure out the petitioner or plaintiff because it like makes you check those stupid boxes, which is just stupid.
Yep. So you can be responding here as well.
So this is
I
quite
wonder
for
if
everybody on the call, maybe this is quite an important thing to look at how Vinny and Mia did this, because this is something that you guys might come across in maybe future forms where you have to, the logic here is basically like, if you are plaintiff or petitioner, if you're starting or responding, you then get the option of, if you're starting, you're either the plaintiff or petitioner, and if you're responding, you're either defendant or respondent.
I wonder if we should add, because people might not know what the difference between plaintiff and petitioner, and it's like, I tried to think of how to explain it, and it's just, it's just
We have
stupid.
another court form.
This would be looking at your court forms again.
We have another court form where we handle that by asking whether or not you started the.
But the point is plaintiff or plaintiff. It's not if you're starting or responding. It's if you are. If you're starting, you're not
this
going to
form
know
gives
if
you
you're
4 options: plaintiff,
but you wouldn't be
petitioner,
doing a
defendant,
motion.
respondent.
Yeah.
So you have to know whether you're the defendant or the respondent, which is just kind of like an arbitrary thing, depending on the type of case.
Sorry.
So you
Should
could
we
almost
have
have an
help
I don't
text?
know option, and if somebody says I don't know, default it to plaintiff. I think that probably covers more people. Default it to plaintiff, defendant versus petitioner, respondent. It's not the end of the world if it's wrong.
So I think in the second drop down, you would just put an I don't know option. And then you in the code would have a, if their answer is unknown or whatever, variable you put for that.
Go with the plaintiff, defendant versus petitioner, respondent. If it's unknown, I would say.
Just a follow up to that. Sorry. So would they select here, or would because Michelle, you said the second question. So
second question.
So would they say they started or they were responding, and then they would say, I don't know which one I am?
Yeah.
Got it.
Because some people just are never going to get that question right or have any idea what that means, I think.
But as I said, Kate, I researched that
See
question.
what we did for the affidavit of indigency too. Since I reworked that question, like going back and looking at the feedback I had gotten from LSNTAP and other legal aid and Transcend, and try to think about how to phrase it. It doesn't answer this exact issue of choosing between plaintiff and petitioner, but there is a short help text there that might be useful too.
Would you mind dropping
Probably I should move that into basic questions the way that it's written now. I think it ended up being a lot better, and also the court gave us a little feedback to help us improve it too.
So Quinton, will you move that into basic questions, or
I think I will. I think I'll use, and that won't solve this exact question, but you might still like it. And I think probably these shouldn't be drop downs. They should be radio buttons, just because those are a lot easier to interact with.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's right.
Especially when there's just 2 choices.
Or we're adding a third.
Well,
I don't know.
Or even 3. I mean,
Yeah.
my rule of thumb is if you get up to 7, a drop down makes sense. But below that, radio is just a lot easier to use.
Interesting.
Okay, that's a good. Everybody listening?
That's a good rule.
Yeah.
7.
Unless it's going to be really distracting, like the suffix, people don't interact with that often, so that's why I keep that a drop down. But
okay, got it.
You good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Look at that progress bar advancing.
I know.
Well, I mean, it's good about having this a recording, because this is helping us decide as a group a whole bunch of principles for everything. So I think it's really
we need to
helpful.
start. Yeah, we need to start really filling out that decision document.
I'm writing some things as we go.
Nice.
Stub.
Nice. Awesome.
Where will they find the title for the motion?
They make it up. I mean, they have to know what they're titling their motion. And it doesn't really matter. It's, I mean, probably properly, most of them should be called motion for temporary orders, but like pro se people just write like motion for visits, motion, and it doesn't, it's fine.
So maybe
but like, what is the question? Because like, I'd read that question and I'd be like,
maybe what do you want to call this motion? What do you want?
It's really what are you asking for, right? It's what are you asking for? And then so it's a motion for whatever they're asking for.
Right, yeah, because the motion for exists on the form already, so you've got to like
and then and you put a note or something in there that says,
for example, custody.
Yeah, for example,
whatever.
A motion for parenting temporary orders to parent. You could just throw some titles out there so people can get a sense.
So if someone can give them some examples, if they don't, because I don't know if they know.
Yeah, no, we will. Yeah,
okay.
do that.
Temporary orders, custody, child support, throw any of that in.
When we actually do the readability, though, that's something that we can go over, like some examples there as well.
Okay,
so
perfect.
I just got a little. Do you want us to change the title or just leave it as is?
I can change it.
The title of that question?
Change it to what are you asking for?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, because then people are going to be like, why does it say motion for?
Well, then we can explain it. We can have a sub question, then we can have some examples.
What about this? Like, what are you asking for? Fill out the sentence below. Motion for blank. This will be the title. I am filing a motion
for blank.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a good one.
Yeah.
And then you could say underneath as a note, like, this will be the title of your motion will be ...
That's nice.
Yeah,
I like that.
I hope somebody wrote it down.
Yep, I'm writing it down.
It's also recorded.
Nice.
And did we talk about maybe a help text to say, like, these are examples of motion names?
Was that going to be a help text, or was it going to be just actually in the, like, as a
it doesn't have to be a help button or anything, just examples.
I think a sub question might be a nicer, like the way that I've seen it in the 209A quite a bit, with examples.
Yeah, examples.
My accent keeps changing when I'm on these calls. Examples. I've got a new American roommate. I got a new American neighbor, and she was like, "Oh my God, are you from America?" I just got off like a 4-hour call. I was like, "No, but the process." Okay, next question. Oh, well, this is okay. So now,
because it's just a big open box, and part of this, I feel like my vision is like eventually maybe this could be super guided and like custody, child support, but to get something out there.
I think what Maeve's noise was about is we just described a question that would say exactly this. That would say, what are you asking the court to do? And now we're asking it again, but we want a different answer.
Yeah.
So this could be for like explain,
so it would be,
or
tell
give
us more details about what you want the court to do.
Right. And as Kate says, MVP, this is fine, but in the future, maybe the next round, really get this to be more guided. And I always use the affidavit in the 209A as a really good example of that. And I think guided is a word that I'm trying to stay away from there, but trying to provide guidance to, not legal advice or anything like that, but just not have a big empty block for people to have to fill in. But for now, I think this is fine.
We just wrote an article about filing motions in probate and family court in just about the same time as this, and I'm trying to find it. I can't remember what the context was, because I think that would be really helpful. But I mean,
if you do find it, can you drop it in the assembly line channel?
Yeah.
Please?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I do love the idea of doing a 2.0 version of this, like aimed at probably child-related temporary order issues.
Well, let's get through this one first.
Yeah, let's get through 1.0.
Kate's already got 10.0 in her mind. Okay.
MVP.
Perfect is the enemy of the good, guys. Just remember.
Okay, this is.
We have a reminder here, like
done.
this should be on your court paperwork or something.
I'm going to put it in the assembly line.
Oh, thanks, Caroline. So this could be, because we are referencing in the beginning, you should have your court paperwork before. So as Kate says, having a line in here added in saying you can find the court name from your paperwork.
The court paperwork, yeah.
So this, I think this is a basic question. I don't know if you feel weird about, but I would always say, what court is hearing your case? Just for your.
Get rid of that passive voice.
Yeah.
I think this is a basic question.
Basic question. Well, we did replace we're going to have the better locator for this soon. But
Yeah.
But I think the title was left alone, so it's a good note.
In this particular case, you might want to the actual list because it might not be based on your address, right?
Well, no,
this based on the other person's address. It'll be on the court.
No, this will be. It's your case is already going on.
Yeah,
it's
so you don't want
be
the
the case
finder.
that's already hearing your court. It's already in your court papers. It's a motion.
Court that's
right?
already hearing your case, right?
Can you open?
Unless it's with your complaint. Sorry.
That's why
can you
I'm
list
saying,
the list of courts?
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying there might be two basic questions, one that is a court locator and one that is a court lister.
Right. So the one basic question is going to be, because when the court's already been dictated or the jurisdiction's already been decided in previous papers, and now you're responding or you're doing something that to a motion that's already been filed, you don't want the automatic court finder. You want to select from a list.
Yeah.
This is a Quinton issue.
I'm not actually sure if that's 100% clear. Yeah, go ahead, Kate.
So like some of the probate courts are split throughout the county. So like Essex and now Middlesex actually both have two locations. I worry it's confused. Like Essex has Salem and Lawrence. Middlesex now has Lowell and Cambridge, soon to be Lowell and Woburn, which is going to be awesome. But
is that pretty new in the last couple of years?
So the Lowell thing is within the last couple. It was open during quarantine. It's been building forever. Essex has been split forever, or as long as I've been practicing. I don't know.
Bye, Finola.
Thanks, Finola. We'll see you.
I'm glad that you found it helpful.
So good. I promise I'll watch the rest of the recording.
This is turning out to be a really fun
Casual Friday.
Casual Friday. I know.
I don't know if there's others split beyond those two, but those are the two that jump out.
Okay. Well, for symmetry, so we have that situation for the housing court and the superior court already. I don't know why the source data didn't already do that for probate and family if there were already some existing splits. So we should add that.
I mean, with Essex, Lawrence is more of a satellite, but like people have their whole cases in Lawrence and never step foot in Salem, and I think would be confused by that.
Another thing we'll have to figure out is how to deal with filing. So I'm assuming you can't just file at any old location, especially a satellite location, right?
Essex you can. Middlesex is different. Middlesex is truly split into Middlesex North and South now. And it's
okay, well that makes a lot of sense for Middlesex because those
are
South and North are really different.
And I think that's really going to be like two counties, more or less. So we probably need, we might need a Middlesex North and Middlesex South, actually.
Yeah, we should adjust the data. So actually, if somebody wants to work with the data there, Michelle had another really good idea for an improvement to the court data to add some more fields. So this started as being like, we just downloaded all the information from mass.gov and scraped it. And I had to do like a little couple fixes. But now I think we probably need our own authoritative database of courts because there's too many differences from what's on the mass.gov website. So that could be a good project if someone is interested in being kind of the maintainer of it and learning a different type of skill.
So maintainer of what?
Or for someone who, this is straight up Python. So if someone has past Python programming experience, this might be a good project for that.
Doesn't Kai have past programming experience?
She does, and that's part of why.
That's weird.
That was very targeted.
That's
welcome to the team, Kai.
Yeah, I just
I'm just saying we have
something I'm really good at. Not really good at, but like.
No, don't do yourself down like that. You
Don't
have
worry
experience with that. You need to listen to the song by Shakira. That's been on her
I'm glad
feed.
people listen to it. It's good.
So,
I love her.
Yeah, we were talking.
The movie it's from.
Zootopia.
Utopia.
You haven't seen that?
I haven't seen it.
The computer that I had that link on has currently needs an exorcist. So if anyone can link me that again, I'd love to see it.
Just Google Shakira, try everything.
Try everything.
I'm gonna put it in the semi-line title. Okay. So basically, all we've said here is add another line about maybe looking on your court papers. If you're just pulling this in from basic questions, I think the answer would be to copy the question from basic questions and then add that line, and you know the drill.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to? I'm curious though. Like, so should we? That's a different question to postpone for a different time. But I'm not 100% sure we don't want to let people choose with the court selector's guidance for an existing court because people may not know the name of their court. Like, for example, we always have people thinking that their case is in the Edward Brook Courthouse. Well, that's the name of the building, not the name of their court. There's like 5 different courts in there.
How interesting.
So that's a conversation that we need to have, and I'm going to make a note
That's
of
a very
that.
good point.
I think that's not something that we have now, court.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and some family courts are in district courts and some aren't. So some people think their family cases are in Lawrence District Court.
Okay.
Good, that's the name of the building, their court. Yeah.
Guys, we're so close.
Not really. I see a lot of set bar left. What's left? I don't even remember.
The bar doesn't really accurately update. So
we can add
Oh.
What?
So cool.
Oh, that almost seemed like a.
No, this is cool. I really like this, and I think that it was a very valuable subject matter expert ad by Kate, saying that that knowledge that Kate let on, which maybe some of the people on this call might not know. I think specifically with this form, maybe Kate, you can just speak a little to this. Why there's multiple.
Yeah, so unmarried parents in Massachusetts, each kid has their own separate case with their own separate docket number. And some of the courts are get very irritable if you don't do that correctly and don't include all the docket numbers and all the.
So it's something that like we wouldn't have known, but Kate, having had experience with that, was able to point that out, and we were able to.
Something that occurs to me is that this sort of, since we keep asking them to go back to a document, there's some way where we could say, this is what it looks like. You know how sometimes when, like they ask you for your routing number on your check and they say, this is where your check is, right? If you don't know what your routing number is versus your account number.
I think
highlight.
Well, I mean, but Kate,
the problem is that they're not going to have the same paperwork in all cases.
Right.
So,
yeah, and sometimes the docket number's in the middle, and
thought.
sometimes it's on the top right, isn't it? I mean, it's in different places as well.
But I just want to put that out there as something to think about.
Is it always the same length?
That was what I was going to say. Is it always like...
Docket numbers are, they're now supposed to be standardized, but they're still...
I got on the Barnstable website that this is how it's like
formatted.
That's a Barnes. Yeah, I feel like they are usually the same length, but then like courts will abbreviate them.
Yeah. In theory, they're all standardized now. So the first two.
You can just make it shorter. Honestly, you can just make it shorter, and I think that would be enough.
And sometimes people put hyphens in different places, actually, to break up stuff to make it clear.
And a lot of times when the court's writing it, they'll leave out the letters, the leading letters.
Fun fact from South Africa.
If they know what court they're in, they don't need the court code.
Right.
That's
We don't have any court codes.
I don't think there's really consistency with.
No, there probably isn't
at all. Especially if they've handwritten it on the.
And you're right. Sometimes there's hyphens. Sometimes there's spaces.
So we can't really give much guidance here.
It's funny that that's like feedback the court gave us on a different form. There's like, you should validate the docket number. Well, none of the clerks I've seen have validated their docket numbers.
Yeah, that was our little joke.
Okay, next screen. Standard.
Good.
Looks great.
All right.
Well, now this might be a little dated. Some of the courts are opening a little bit more to the public. So I don't know what to do about that.
A lot of the courts are physically closed?
Most are
not all of them.
The courts are closed.
They're opening up now.
The courts are only opened on a limited basis. I don't know.
Yeah.
Most courts are closed.
There, when you click here, I don't want to be Katie Milton is trying to keep this up, but on the other hand, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's you.
July 1st, but then things change July 13th, right?
Yeah, but still, they're still doing most things virtually.
Right. I mean, I guess
some of the courts that have opened have closed down because people have
right? I mean, you just have to call the court.
We have
find out if they're
literally every single they open up one day and then someone gets COVID and then they close down the next day, and then it's just the
that's
same
happening
thing.
here too.
So I think that maybe what we do is
about the court may not be open.
I like that. That's vague. It'll probably be true for a while.
Or the court might not be open. I think might be better than may.
I always go for may.
Just wording wise. Sorry.
Yeah. English GHT word in there.
Oh, okay. Never mind. May.
So should we have a line in there about have we agreed on that?
What about the court may be closed?
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
No negatives.
The court may be closed, and if it is, it will only. The court may be physically closed.
The court. Well, we were saying the courthouse. We often say the courthouse may be closed. So because the court really made a big deal to various people who feed to me, saying the courts aren't closed, it's the buildings. They made a really big deal out of that.
But then some of them are closed, really nice or some of them do close when someone gets COVID.
Yeah.
And then they shut the whole court down.
Right.
Oh, they just stop all the work of the court. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think, and then courthouse, and then that's not capitalized, hey?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Is it too confusing to say like the court schedules will vary during this COVID crisis? Is that too?
I think we can just do the you can read more there. The notion is we want to know if it's an emergency.
Yeah.
We'll throw emergency in the title. So we should say it may be closed, physically closed, or court buildings closed, or whatever we're going to say.
Yeah. You should tell the court if you need this heard right away.
Right.
If there is, they are likely still hearing emergencies. So is this an emergency? I'm going to heat up my tea.
Yeah, something like that. And I kind of liked linking to Mass Legal Help because I figured it would be easier than having the interview constantly updated.
Oh, right, yeah.
Single source of truth.
So we have to constantly update.
Yeah.
But it's one less place to
That's
update.
What Katie Milton gets paid for with Glavic money. So I would say anyway, I'm not going to do the plain language thing here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carry on, because we made the decision. Yeah. Okay. Will be delivered. What's that asking?
About service.
Service.
So if you say no, this goes on to hearing, but if you say yes, it's going to ask you if you're delivering by hand or by mail. If it's by hand, you're going to be prompted of date and time, and if it's by mail, you're going to be prompted just of the date.
Okay, I think we might work on the plain language for the initial question because it's not when it will be I think that's a confusing question.
Okay, so we put flag that as a plain, right? Yeah, we flag that as a plain language concern.
Yeah,
might be more than plain language there. Service is
dum.
Yeah, but we're just gonna change. We're gonna
so
change
Dave
the
came
language
back from his
on
tea.
it. Yeah.
You just like leaned in. Okay.
So what are we doing here?
I think we're just changing the language on the initial question. I don't think we need to change the flow, but I think we need to explain what service is and it's going to be served or something like that. But this is such a odd how it will be delivered. It's like
Michelle, your audio is a mess.
Yeah, Caroline's gonna do it later.
Yeah,
that's all.
Hi, Jody.
Hi, Jody.
Okay. So we're basically just going to flag this kind of logic. I think the logic is fine. I'm not sure.
I think the logic is fine. And that's a little bit weird. Explain what date of mail.
Yeah.
Probably a placeholder, I'm guessing, but they just didn't.
Yeah. 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 So I think this is good. We can just keep, I think the logic is all good on this.
It's just the red text, the plain language.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the hearing, and then this isn't required, so
probably want to explain that.
Did you already say where the court, what court, about the court?
Yeah, they already said what court.
Oh, and so the courts have different.
Hearing city, yeah, that should be knowable
from the data that they indicated about the court.
Yeah.
Unless you just have to deal with the split courts.
Right.
That
But
seems
this question
complicated.
is optional, so it doesn't.
Well, then we need to, I mean,
Explain.
despite the fact that it doesn't have a red star on it, people don't always understand that. So they are going to try and answer this, even if they don't know. So that.
How about you add if you know it?
Well, that's what we said,
When-
adding some kind of explanation when we get to the plain language aspect.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, this is another one we should tweak later, I think.
Yeah.
Flagged.
Yeah, and this is probably gonna just be like a mess with the courts having varied practices too.
Mhm.
Yay!
There's a
Nearly
motion.
finished.
So this is what we get, and then it, because we did emergency, it this language appears.
This is already prompted. Okay, so
Yeah.
And then address impounded, and because we clicked yes for the telephone number does not show up.
Mhm.
And then down here, we did that, and then we skipped the hearing info, so it didn't.
Mhm.
And for now, you can't have multiple either plaintiffs or defendants, I think.
Correct.
that's a post MVP. That's a 2.0.
Or
10.0.
3.0, yeah. Maybe later 0.0.
Okay, it's just basic questions.
Yep.
You don't even fake the signatures anymore, Mia.
I'll do a smiley face.
She's converted. I've converted her.
All right, maybe I haven't gone through enough to give up on those.
So
Okay.
That is a very straight line.
Yeah.
I've mastered it. But then if they say that they don't know how they're going to do service or delivery on that question that we need to redo the wording, the signature won't appear on this page.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And then
Guys, you did so good.
Should it in that case have a sign here type of thing? Well, they know to
No,
sign?
because it's going to be sent to the court, so it needs to be sent without the signature.
Got it.
Okay.
And this is for the cover sheet.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is all basic questions. You haven't changed that. Not basic questions, sorry. That's the code that you input about submission to court. So this is kind of where we were saying, in terms of comments, we would add a comment in the what's it called, in the template.
Note impoundment.
Right.
Yeah.
Something along those lines, yeah.
Or it could be any kind of note that the people could
of course,
added on to the end.
Yeah,
because that way we can make it flexible enough to make it a generic variable, a basic questions variable.
Well, I think impoundment might come up enough that we'll want to put it as its own row in that little top.
What we don't have here, and maybe this is part of what we're going to talk about on Monday as well, is a cover page for the user.
So we've got that. Mike actually drew up a demo for one.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So we do have one to work with, but you're right that we do need to discuss it and incorporate it.
Yeah, and the content, a lot of the content for that is in the link I just put on the assembly line Slack.
Got it. Okay, well, this has been a fun Casual Friday. Guys, I'm really impressed with the work.
Casual Friday part yet?
I'm really impressed with the work that you guys have put in, I must say. And of course, as Jody mentioned, okay, I'm going to stop recording.